So this is the second week in a series that we're doing on the subject of the art of navigating our way through life. And if you really want to catch up on the other ones, if you look in the chair in front of you, the little red bit there, you can take one of those home and you can find the podcasts and on YouTube just to watch the messages. And if you'd like to be on our mailing list, then just take the blue one and just put it in the plate or whatever. Those are the two cards that we've got back. And we're talking about navigating our way through life. And last week we had a little poem that I had read called The Golden Thread. It's called The Way It Is, and it's by William Stafford. And this sets the context for what we're talking about. There is a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it does not change. People wonder what you're pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it's hard for others to see. While you hold on to that thread, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you can do will stop time's unfolding, but you never let go of the thread. So this is the idea that there's a thread that comes through your life, that if you are able to, you can follow a thread, and somehow, there's an old phrase which says, James Finney used to say this, he said that God protects us from nothing. We know that. All the stuff that happens in our lives, God protects us from nothing, but sustains us in all things. God sustains us in all things. And the thread is the sustaining us in all things. Whatever happens, we're sustained. But how do you find that thread in life, the true path in life? How do we find the place where we're able to know what we're doing is the right thing given the circumstances? Well, last week I said the way you don't find the thread is by thinking that things are going right. Because we know that things don't always go right. We can't control circumstances. We can't control circumstances. All we can control is our reaction to circumstances. And for me, the great test that we're following the thread, the way that I think that we work out whether we're following the thread, is if we feel a peace within ourselves. Whatever happens, if we can feel that peace within ourselves, then we know that we're on the right path. You know, even sometimes when circumstances are dire, you can see people are following that thread, and they're at peace with what is going on, even when things are difficult. You know, they always say that you can't prove that God exists. You can't prove, and they say, oh, you know, we can't, you know, there's no way of doing it. They look up, you know, there's no God particle, or, you know, they always look out there and try and analyze everything to say, you know, how do you prove that God exists? But I think when they're looking out there and analyzing, they're looking totally the wrong place. When you're looking for proof that God exists, the way to look is inward. And the place that you get to is that peace. They call it the peace that passes all understanding. And it's an experience that's within ourselves that is not based on circumstances. It's not based on what's going on, but it's based on a knowledge of peace and satisfaction. It says in Philippians, he says, let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, with prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guide your hearts and minds. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a peace that we can go through life understanding it. And it's not about the mind, it's about the heart. When I did that prayer at the beginning, it's about bringing us into our heart. The peace that passes all understanding is not about the mind. How do we know that? Well, the trick is in the word understanding. It's the peace that goes beyond understanding. And it's a peace that comes to us from our hearts. We become that peace. We become the presence of the divine. That's how we know we're on that path. That's the evidence that we've found the golden thread to guide us, when we feel that peace, because it's not coming from our minds. Whatever is happening, we're able to have a peace that contains it. Now, it might seem, that's an impossible task given what we're assailed with every day. But, it's not an impossible task. That peace is readily available to us at all times and in all situations. We just have to be willing to go in and reach for it. Most of the time, we're not. We just want to control circumstances. But if you think, how can I be at peace? If you're able to do that, if you're willing to go within and do it, we reach for that peace. And the way you reach for that peace is through practice. You go to the gym, and most of us don't, but some people go, I can see all of you, your eyes are no, I don't. Whatever we do, if piano, you practice. And it's the same with the whole spiritual bit. You've got to practice, You've got to do meditation or you read or go in the mountains or even listening to John Denver, intensely is a practice. You've got to practice being at peace. And the reason, John had that peace. And that's why we're drawn to him. We've got to practice that peace. And those of you who are here regularly, if you haven't got a meditation practice or a practice, that develops spirituality, come and see me. And because that's the key thing, to have a practice, to follow. John was someone that sought that peace out. And you can see it in his songs. He followed it and he communicated it to others. And he communicated, take me home. And now, where is home? Home, I think, Thich Nhat Hanh always said that your true home is, wait for it, your true home is the present moment. Your true home, it's not, a place, it is the present moment. There's a home is where the heart is, they always say that. But no, it's the present moment. We are absolutely at home now together, in the present moment. This is the home you take with you. This is his poem about our true home is the present moment. To live in the present moment is a miracle. The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on the green earth in the present moment. To appreciate the peace and beauty that's available now. Peace is all around us in the world and in nature and within us. It's in our bodies and our spirits. Once we learn to touch this peace, we'll be healed and transformed. It's not a matter of faith. It is a matter of practice. We need only to find ways to bring our body and mind back to the present moment so we can touch what is refreshing, healing, and wondrous. And you can see how that fits. He's talking about peace, not faith. He's talking about practice, but the practice of being in the present moment. And the golden thread, the path that we follow, always leads us to the present moment. That thread always leads us to the home that we're all headed to as well when we die. The peace at our death. Because death, and that's what we want, isn't it? You want to die a good death. And the way you die a good death is to be at peace. Death is a part of life. It's part of life. Just as birth is a part of life, it's all part of the same thing. And to follow that thread is to follow the peace of the heart. We often think that death is the end of the path. It's not. It's part of it. Birth and death might seem like opposites, but they're not. They're just different ends of the same path. Last week, those of you here, I talked about, including both and in things. It's not either or in life, it's both and. And I think that, the individual ego always wants to go its own way. And the heart contains all things. We don't have to choose between the two. We don't have to choose between birth and death. We don't have to choose between. We include all of it. In his book, Ian McGilchrist's The Matter of Things, he says that Niels Bohr, who's the scientist, greatest insight into the deep nature of the universe was that contraries, things that are opposite, actually fulfill one another. It's a timeless insight to be found in one form or another in most of the great cultures and religions. The most sophisticated of these, because they're detailed and refined, arise in China, And he suggests that the yin and yang idea, this is the yin and yang. Those of you that have seen this sign before. And the great thing about this sign is that there are opposites, including in each other. They fulfill each other. You want to sometimes say, well, the darkness is one side and the light is the other side. But what's being said here is that darkness and light are part of each other. The dark bit contains the light and the light bit contains the dark. And I think that's an interesting idea when you come to look at the idea of peace, is that the opposites, the thing that we think throw us from one side or the other, they actually complement each other. We find the thread by realizing that what we think are opposites, things that we think we have to choose between, are really just different places on the same spectrum. Birth and death are different places on the spectrum. Male and female are different places on the spectrum. Sweet and sour. Even left and right in politics are different places on the same spectrum. And when you experience that, when you realize that, there's a peace that comes because it's not one or the other. It is both within the spectrum. When we realize this, we see ourselves as within the spectrum from whatever way we look at it. And we know that the spectrum is interconnected, as you can see from the yin and yang sign. We are both within each other, and therefore we fulfill each other rather than having to fight each other. We can therefore be at home with each other, and there is a peace at that. And that is the peace to strive for, the containing peace. He describes, McGilchrist in this book I was talking about, describes opposites. I like this. Opposites are like two ends of a bow. They have to be in opposition so that the string is taut and the arrow can fly. It is part of the construction. It's by holding these opposites together rather than trying to have one cancel the other out that we're able to be at peace with the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and deal with the circumstances. So our minds and our hearts are then brought into line and we can see clearly what's going on, because we're brought back to the present moment. You know, St. Francis says, make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. To live like this is to live from that point of peace and to keep hold of that thread within our lives that we're given by our relationship with the divine. And, you know, John had that. John Denver had that. He had that peace within him. He did have that relationship with the divine. A channel. Life, out there seems to assail us. But when we're connecting the two, one to the other, we come from a loving stance. We share with each other that peace every moment that we're together. It means being fully present to what's going on around us. I'm on the last page, so the first page and the last page, all part of the same spectrum. Anyway, last page. And at the same time, being fully present to the promptings of what's going on within us. Like the breath, we breathe in that which is around us, what's going on around us, and we breathe out from that which comes within. Breathing in the universe, breathing out the divine. We become a channel of peace, not condemning, but knowing that we are all part of the same spectrum. And that each of us can do our part through an awareness of the opposites to have the arrow of peace fly out from our lives and bring both peace and healing to those around us. It's the same for all of us. And those who are regular, I'll be talking about becoming that channel a bit more next week. Thank you very much. Dan. Well, now, when I sort of pontificate up here from the front, sometimes people, have different opinions, different thoughts, different feelings. And we always have a little time in our service for you to be able to come back at me, maybe with an idea about something I've said, or even to disagree. I give these ideas with the willingness to be wrong. So if you want to point that out, or just to make a comment about anything. It could be about John and your, sense of spirituality within that. Sometimes we have just a nice silence because no one wants to say anything. But would anyone like to say anything at all? Anybody we have a microphone here, would like to make a contribution? Yes, there we are. Just say your name first of all and then say, yeah.
Michael Ainsley, your talk took me back to a great spiritual leader from this community, Father Thomas Keating, who was a great advocate of centering prayer and the fact that God is within us. And the golden thread brought me back to remembering some of the amazing things that he taught and really, I think, was transformational in a lot of his beliefs.
Thank you. Well, we were so lucky to be able to have Father Thomas with us while he was here, and he came to the chapel occasionally, and that was amazing. Yes, and really the whole welcoming process that he did was part of that. So thank you for reminding us of that. That's great. Anybody else like to say anything? Yes, Greg. Those of you who don't know Greg, he was my predecessor for 37 years here. So I see, this is his train set that I play with now.
That's all I wanted to say. Just want to remind you of that. No, because so many people are here because John Denver. I just wanted to let you know, if some of you don't know, that we did John Denver did a few TV specials, and this was called Music in the Mountains, and he filmed one song here with, I think, Beverly Sills. I think it was Annie's song, and so it was a lot of fun to have him here, and it took him 2 days or more than that to film one song for the TV special. And then during that song, or any song, I was up in front in front of a couple getting married as part of the scene of John Denver singing with Beverly Sills in Music in the Mountains. And they were all kind of actors. And afterwards, I let them know that I really was the chaplain, and they're now married.
Oh, that's great, Greg. Thank you. That's fantastic. Yes, Joanne. Let's have something from you, Joanne. Fantastic.
I'm a visitor here this week, and I must say that you all live in a place where the beauty and the brilliance of color and of the universe is so overwhelming that there's no way you can avoid the sense of spiritual inspiration. I mean, it's just so magnificent here. You are all really lucky to live here and blessed by this gorgeousness. And it will pass, right? This is a moment to really appreciate the present moment. And I have been this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Lovely to say that. Great. Fantastic. Good. Yes. Here we are. Let's have it from Tim.
I'm Tim. I've been here 37 minutes. But what I like to say is, I love falling in love with nature. I've never seen much like this before, but I also know that it's really in us, like you said, when the Lord and the Holy Spirit's in us, then we recognize it a lot easier. And not just about us, it's way bigger than us. So anyway, good to be here.
Well, it's so nice that you say that the Holy Spirit is in us, because the fact is, we have to remember it. Yeah. And most of the time we don't remember it. We just get caught up in our minds, and things go on, and we're just reacting to what's in our minds. But if we could remember that the Holy Spirit's within me as the Holy Spirit's within you, to remember that is to arrive at the point of peace, and that we're both children of God. Right. Tim, go for it, because they won't hear you online.
I was also wondering, is John Denver in heaven, because we were so devastated, like I'm sure you guys even more so, and this convinced me a lot more that he is. Yeah. The way you talked about that, and, that was in him, because it's different when you see somebody from a distance, but you guys probably know a little bit more up front, just because it was our first date. And we've been married 46 years now, so he touched us.
Well, I can't see a world where John Denver is not in heaven. So, yes. So thank you. Your first date. That's so amazing. How many years have you been married? 46 years. That's fantastic. Congratulations, Cindy. Congratulations, Tim. That's great. Yes, at the back here, making me do my work here. And there we are. It's Mike.
Yes, this is because you're not going to the gym. You had to come on. I just wanted to throw some love Nicholas's way. That was really a beautiful sermon that you gave, and to make us feel that there's two ends to the thread within each of us, and to daily try and find that balance is really meaningful. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. That's great. Good. Anybody else like to? Yes, there we are. I mean, please, there we are. Fantastic.
Hi, I'm a visitor here and appreciate
Kathy.
your words so much. I used to teach kindergarten for many years, and the first day of kindergarten, I would read The Invisible Thread, which is a wonderful children's story about how when children are apart from their home or their family, they can know that there's a thread there. So your sermon reminded me of that, and I connected with it.
Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. And behind you, someone had their hand up. Do you want to pass it back? Yes, that's great. That's lovely.
I'm Chris. Beautiful message. Thank you so much. And just with John Denver, it's just amazing how his songs just fit perfectly into the hymns for a church service. And I think we make religion so complicated sometimes. And really what we just listen to him and you get a lot of it right there. So.
And I think it's interesting that people join in with John Denver more than they do the hymns here. So I think, could you pass that just forward? Anybody else like to make a contribution? Yes, there we are. Paul.
Hello, my name is Paul Gibbs, and I'm from Austin, Texas, and I'm visiting with my family. And I really appreciate the beginning of the service and getting grounded and the kind of, finding yourself here. But I read in a book that says religion and church are for people trying to stay out of hell, and spirituality is for people that have been to hell. So that's all I got.
No, Paul, it's lovely. It's lovely. I mean, I think it's a really interesting point because the whole idea, when you look at that idea that opposites contain each other, it also contains the whole idea that through adversity, we actually discover that positiveness and we are made to. Evolution is a function of adversity and of growing through adversity. So I think it's a lovely point to make. Thank you. Yes, Ward.
Just a quick little anecdote. Back in the day, I was walking between a couple of stores with John Denver. He was looking for a helmet for his son that was going to do a downhill race. And coming the opposite way was some beautiful young lady with a wolf coat on. And we got out of earshot range, and John turned to me and says, God, I'd love to have a coat like that, but can you imagine the shit I'd take?
Here we are. It's the Aspen Chapel for you. Thank you. Anybody finally?